Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Painting with Jay. So as always, my name is Jay, and come paint along with me. Grab a brush, grab some paints, grab some models, and paint along with me. It's Halloween tomorrow. So I'm wearing my Halloween-y colors, just completely by coincidence, green and orange. Remember, if you ever want to buy your own Miniature Wargamer, Mini Wargamer Jay t-shirt, go to the link in the description below, or miniwargamerj.spreadshirt.com. Check it out for sure. So as always, I'm going to be continuing to work on my Dark Angels because I still have a lot of Dark Angels to paint up, and obviously last week I started on some Tactical Marines. I'll be continuing them today. I've done a little bit of work since then, which you'll notice, but I'll just continue to paint along and talk about my week. Let's get work done. Yes. Hey everyone, so welcome back to another Painting with Jay. It's going to be fun today, and as you can see, I'm still working on all my Tactical Marines here. But I've done all the browns since then. So right now I'm working on the silver metallics. So today my goal is just to get the silver metallics done. That's my chair squeaking, I promise. Today my goal is to get the silver metallics done. And if there's time, hit them all with a non-oil shade. So today it's all about lead belcher. No treble. And yeah, so I'm just going to be putting lead belcher on a lot of these models for a while. As I say, I have like 20-something painting Tactical Marines to paint up. And yeah, I like to do the silvers first before the reds, because what I do is I use the silvers and then I dry brush them to get some texture. And then I use the reds to essentially clean up the, I cut it in essentially and clean up the paint job. Right? So that way I get a nice textured silver, but without it ruining any of the reds. And I just paint red around it, take my time and clean it up, and it looks nice. So that's good. So, yeah, I have like 23 or 4 Tactical Marines to paint up. And then after these guys are done, which is going to take me the next couple weeks probably, 2 or 3 weeks at the rate I'm going. And then I will probably take some time and just clean up for a week or two my Deathwing, because they've gotten a lot of wear and tear since I put them together and painted them years ago. So I'll take some time and get them all nice and pretty. And then after that I'm done with the Dark Angels for a little bit. Maybe I'll paint some more stuff. The thing is, most of the other things I'm going to paint up for Dark Angels will be a tutorial, probably in the Warp, maybe for free. And as always, if you really want to support my videos, please consider to joining the Warp or supporting my Patreon campaign, both links in the description below, because it's through the support from these two things that my videos will continue and thrive. You know, I don't want to keep only putting out 2 or 3 videos a week. I want to put out 5 videos plus a week for free and 5 videos plus a week in the Warp and just kick butt. And that's my goal. So I need your support for that. So another one done. In fact, it's been a good week. I think it's been a very productive week. I've had a good week, you know. Ever since I had to kind of increase my hours at my other job, it's been really hard to keep on top of my videos, which you've noticed that it's gone down to 3, sometimes 2 videos a week. And this week I've been actually getting a lot of work done. I'm almost done the next How to Play 40K, which is on Blast templates, and that's cool. The video is sponsored, actually. It's my first sponsored video from my Patreon campaign, so that's cool. And that's good. And then what else have I done? So this week you got a battle report. It was Dark Angels versus... It wasn't my Dark Angels, it was my Imperial Fists versus Dark Angels, which was a little confusing, I agree, seeing as I was using Deathwing to proxy. And eventually I do have 1 Terminator squad set aside. I have 1 Terminator squad set aside to be painted up as Imperial Fists, so I'll be painting up them shortly. Because that way I can use them and be a lot less confusing when I'm facing Dark Angels. And plus I always like, you know, having an army that matches the correct color scheme. What else did I get done this week? So I got a bunch of videos done. This was a good week. The Warp, this week's Warp painting tutorial is actually an Imperial Knight. I painted up Imperial Knight over the last week. It only took me about a day. I focused really on hard. Yeah. So I'll zoom out for a second. and I just knocked his banner off, which happens unfortunately because it is super glued on. So I'll have to put the banner back on. But let's zoom out and show you. I keep knocking off his banner because it's such a low point of contact. It's not broken or anything. I'll just have to glue it back on. But here he is. He's in the Imperial Knight Codex. It's the White Warden color scheme. I know he's very gray, but it's actually the White Warden, it's called. And he was a lot of fun to paint up. He's fully magnetized, so I can take off his arms and switch between the weapons. But he was really fun to paint up. And as I said, this week's Warp painting tutorial will be him. So that's cool. I'll zoom back in. Put it back where I was. Just as a reference point here. Boing. Boom. Good. And we're back in business. So I'll glue his banner on later that I keep breaking off. There was problems with the banners for all Imperial Knights is that they have such a small area of contact, of surface area for contact, that you quickly can break them off. And that's what happens. But it was a lot of fun to paint up. I really want another one. I painted him up and I'm like, I want another Imperial Knight because it was so much fun to assemble him and magnetize him, build him, and paint him. Until then, I've only had the Forge World ones. And I got him on, ordered him online a while ago. Got a good price, so. It was good. They finally, you know. Then you buy something on like eBay and you forget that you bought it. And it arrives and you're like, oh yeah, sweet. So it was really fun. Yeah, White Warden. And I'm thinking of, because he's gray, but as I said, he's gray and white. So I have a gray, a green, primarily red, and a primarily black. So I've decided I'm eventually going to go Power Ranger color schemes. Yeah, that'll be cool. In our sense of cool. So the next one I do will either be yellow or pink. Probably yellow, I'm thinking, first. Because of the connection to my Imperial Fists. So if I ever want to like just use one with my Imperial Fists, be good to go. You know, and it would look good and match the color scheme. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to paint up. What else is new and exciting? It's Halloween coming up. Tomorrow's Halloween, so that's cool. I'll probably hand out candy. I bought my Halloween candy last week, and then I think my wife and I kind of ate it. So, oops. That's the thing. They always put it on sale early, and then you buy it and you take it home, and you're like, oh, Halloween candy. Of course, like certain Halloween candies, I know that they're selling it to us, so, you know, we're going to eat it because, like, certain packages of Halloween candy have all, like, there's the one that is all peanuts. Every chocolate bar in it has peanuts. And I thought the proper protocol when handing out Halloween candies, make sure it's nut free, because, you know, these days kids are allergic to pretty much everything. And it really sucks, but they are. They're pretty much allergic to everything. And so you don't give any peanut food, you know, peanut full chocolate bars. So obviously the key is when I was a kid was you got to find the houses, because I didn't grow up with a lot of money at all. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I was pretty broke as a kid, well, growing up, and my family. But we lived in a wealthy-ish neighborhood. So the key was to find the houses, and we always kind of knew which ones they were, because the wealthy people would always give away the full chocolate bars, and that was the key. If you found one of those, you're like, oh, awesome, you know, because you'd give up like 4 or 5 of the mini ones in the hunt for the full-size chocolate bars. Now, those were good days. There was one woman's house in the area, I remember, that she or her husband was a CEO or some high up person at the Nielsen Cadbury factory. So we'd always hit up that house because she, again, always full-size Nielsen Cadbury chocolate bars. It was awesome. Those were the days. And of course, being Canadian, winter weather would always comes around the last week of October, first week of November is when it starts popping its head around. So obviously we got a crazy storm, which I'll talk about probably a little bit later. But So certain years, you'd have your Halloween costume picked out and awesome, but then it would snow, and so you'd always have to like wear your Halloween costume over your snowsuit, and that actually, it's a stereotype of Canada, but it actually happened to me more times I can count as a kid. It hasn't happened as a lot recently. Maybe global warming, I don't know, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. What else? Yeah, it was good. Yeah, Halloween's fun. I might wear a costume tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah, I really want to hand out candy. I like handing out candy. Because these days, not a lot of people hand out candy. And it should be all about the kids. To me, it's all about the kids. And handing out candy is about the kids, you know? I don't want to be one of those people that turns the light off. Like the guys across the street from my house, the guy who likes to room his motorcycle, Mr. Vroom a lot, or Mr. Revs a lot, depending on what you want to call him. He always turns off his lights, so I don't want to be like that. I want to hand out candy. And, you know, obviously it's not make or break for the kids. Like, if I don't hand out candy, it's not going to ruin their day or something. But it helps contribute to a great night. It really does. And last year, of course, it was terrible weather. The rain was bad. So I was handing out extra candy because not many people were showing up. I always do that. Like, I always like to portion the candy to my approximate number of people that come, and I don't ration it. It's all good. So I'll pick up some more today. And definitely want to hand it out tomorrow. That's the way of the J. Also, I carved a pumpkin. I haven't carved a pumpkin in a long time. But my wife's friend, she had never carved a pumpkin before. So we decided that we're all going to carve pumpkins together. And so if you check out my Facebook page, for my personal, most people here who paint with me would probably know it already. I put up a picture of my pumpkin. And let's just say, it's kind of a pumpkin version of me. It was a lot of fun. Really, like my pumpkin had so much grossness in it. You know, some pumpkins are like practically empty and the other ones are just chock full of the pumpkin grossness. That was mine. But, whatever. It was fun. Good time. What else happened? Oh, apologies for another reason for the lack of uploads this week. Though I've actually gotten a lot of work done, as I said. It's been a really productive week. This week, seriously, has been the best feeling week I've had in a while. My back hasn't been hurting as much. It's still nowhere near good, but and I've been able to get a lot of work done. And it was nice. I've had a good balance of my two jobs this week. And I'm hoping that I can keep this up and build upon this momentum for upcoming weeks, you know, because my goal is this week you can film a Q&J tonight and get that up. So this week you're getting the full 5 lineup. And I put up a free painting tutorial. Now it's going to go up for free officially, like it's already up, but it's going to be available to the public in 2 weeks. And the reason is it was supported by my Patreon campaign. So they get first access to the video. And it's Mephiston, Lord of Death. And he's cool. Turned out really fun. Good tutorial. If anybody's seen any of my episodes of Face Off in the Warp right now, he's in them. He's been in the last couple. So Mephiston, free tutorial. Coming up in a couple weeks for you guys. So that's up and people like it, apparently. You know, the people who have watched it so far like it. And that's good. What else? I got my battle report up, Miniature Painting 101 up, Painting with Jay up. After that, obviously it'll be up today because I'm filming it as we speak, or as I speak literally. Well, okay. So, yeah, that was good. And then as I said, my goal tonight is to get Q&J done. Q&J to finish by tomorrow to have the How to Play 40K up. And then I might even do a codex review. Now I'm seriously debating on people. Now I want this is my big question to you for the day. Now I think I should do a codex review on the new updated Tau book. But here's my problem with it, okay? Here's my honest problem with it. Is that it's an update. Like most of the things haven't changed, right? Most things haven't changed. And most of the details have been covered by people using the White Dwarf reviews, right? Like, Mini Wargaming has already reviewed all the new things that have come out via White Dwarf. So I don't know how much new information will actually be available. And I just don't want to spend a lot of money on a new codex, honestly, and then all the time to do a codex review to get very little out of it for the viewers, because you've already seen all the information. And then in the end, I just don't get a lot of views, and it's just like, okay, that was fun. I didn't get any reviews, like, you know what I mean? The thing is about the codex reviews is I have to get views out of it to justify the purchase of the codex, because especially for an army that I don't play. I don't have to make all my money back or something, but it's nice if I make some back so that, you know, justifies the cost of it. Otherwise, I'm spending, like, the codices are right now like 60-something bucks, $65. So why? It's hard to justify that money when most of the information is already out. So my big question to you, first of all, is do you want me to do a codex review? And if you do, I will. I will seriously do it. If you think that enough information would justify it, and that, you know, I'd love to do codex reviews, I really do. But this is the first situation in a while where it's not really a new codex. It's just an update. But then again, so is kind of the Eldar. Other than the formations, there really wasn't that much new, and only a few things got moved around. But if you want me to, I will. You're my trusted colleagues. And of course, this will be up before tomorrow. Tomorrow's when the codex comes out. So... yeah. We'll see. I just don't know. It's a weird situation with this update. It does have new stuff in it, but it's just I'm wondering how much new stuff is actually new. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe I'll just go and buy the ebook edition. You don't get the interactivity, but I'm okay with that for an army I don't play. Right? I don't know if I'll play Tau in the future personally. I don't mind Tau. They're not a bad army or anything. I just don't like their play style. And I already have so many frickin' armies, and I already chosen if I do collect a new army in the future. I think I know which one it's going to be. It's a surprise. I'm not telling you right now, but it's a surprise. Or I'll tell you. No, I can't. It's a surprise. Oh. So I'm watching the World Series. Obviously, I was hoping the Jays and the Cubs would be there, but the Mets and versus Kansas City. I'm cheering for the Mets now, but I don't know if they're going to win. Kansas City's kicking their butts. But the first game was really funny because I knew I wasn't working the day after the first game of the World Series, so I was like, all right, you know what? I should just watch the World Series. You know what? It shouldn't go that late. It started at 8 o'clock. And then, of course, it went 15 innings, like 14 or 15 innings. Went to like 1 or 2 in the morning here. I thought, okay, I can go to bed. And then my work tried to call me in at 7:45 the next morning. I was like, oh, that hurt. And it was also the day of a torrential downpour. We had a tropical storm, basically, the remnants of a hurricane, come through here on Wednesday. And it was really bad. And I was like, no, I don't really want to work because I have to walk. I walk to work, right? So I don't really want to walk to work in that. And then my wife locked the keys in the car and needed something out of the car, of course. She locked the keys in the car at her work, which is like 4 kilometers from our house. Her wallet's in the car. No, sorry, her wallet's in our house. And the umbrella's in the car. So I was like, oh. So the only option, and I didn't really want to take a cab there, so I walked. I was like, my goal was not to walk somewhere that day, and then instead I had to walk, and it was about 4.5 kilometers, so just under 3 miles for my American friends. Just under 3 miles that I had to walk in this like crazy rainstorm, just because I had the spare key to let my wife into the car. So then what I did was, I was like, I'm not walking home, so I took the car home, and then I went and picked her up from work afterwards. Because I wasn't going to walk home in that. You know. No, that'd be silly. Very, very silly. So we're only 19 minutes in. And I've done a lot of these guys. This is good. This is a lot of work done. As I said, a couple more weeks of these guys, then they're done. Green Wing, all painted. I was really debating, to be honest. I gotta remind myself. See, I bounce around subjects so much. I was really debating what level I wanted to paint these guys to. Do I do my normal battle report standard, like my tabletop standard, or do I want to go to my light standard? Because most of my, all my other Green Wing Dark Angels are actually just dipped. I painted them quickly for mini wargaming battle reports, and I just dipped them. And I could, seriously, if I was dipping these guys, I'd have them done by next week, and then I could start my next thing. You know, I was like, okay, but should I, you know what, take my time and do it like my tabletop standard to these guys? It would make them look nice, and then that way I have some selection for battle reports. And I thought that would be it in the end. You know, that way they're nice and they look decent, right? So I'll paint these to my battle report standard, my tabletop standard, and then, as I said, they look good. It'll take an extra week or so, but it'll be worth it. Plus, with the painting with Jays, as I'm going to continue doing this series indefinitely, like this is one of the ones that, regardless of how much work I can do, this is my moment of zen. So this series will always continue to happen. Now, obviously, it's been dying off with views lately, but I don't care. I'm going to keep making it for the hardcore people that like to watch it. But, yeah. So I'm enjoying this. And as I said, I have so indefinite number of painting with Jays. So I'll be able to paint, eventually my goal is to paint my entire studio worth, which is actually getting there. It's getting to the point now where there's some serious empty space in my studio for my workshop because of all the models I painted. And painting these guys, the Dark Angels, actually represent a significant portion of my unpainted models. I do have few more orcs. I'll probably focus on some Necrons soon, or maybe just some commissions that I have laying around that I really want to finish. I still have a few more Imperial Fist things to paint up. Necrons, I just have some touching up and then a couple things, and then they'll be good to go. I could spend like a month on Necrons and easily have that done, and them all good to go. And then basically my Grey Knights are pretty much done. Oh, sorry, my Grey Knights, I still have some Strike Squads. I have about 15 Strike Squad guys. So then my Grey Knights, I have about 15 Strike Squad guys, which is a couple weeks painting, right? Tyranids, I could always paint a couple dozen, 100 more. Kidding, but still. Orcs, I have a few more guys left. Orcs are actually one of my armies that I have a lot. I don't have many left, sorry. I have a lot of painted guys, not that many unpainted. And, yeah, so as I said, there's not that many. It's getting to the point now where I am seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I think, at the rate that I'm going, 2016 will be the year that all the models that I've been wanting to paint forever will be done. All of them. Because 2015, I've done so much work that it's just, I'm looking at my checklist of guys, and I'm looking around at the boxes left, and they're gone. Like, there's not much left. This has just been such a productive year for painting, and it's because he's painting with Jays, and I'm hoping that in internet land, wherever you are, you're having just as much luck as, and like painting, and as much progress as I have. You know, it just started just over a year ago with Orktober. You know, this is my 13th month doing painting with Jays. In the last 12 months, I've painted thousands and thousands of points models. Plus my tutorials on top of that have led to a lot of HQs being painted up. You know, if you ever check out the Warp, I'm serious, go check out the Warp and see how many painting tutorials. And there are an insane amount of 40K character tutorials. Right? Like, insane amount of So I've painted hundreds and hundreds of models, and it's been a great 13 months of painting through this series. So thank you very much, everyone, for obviously painting along with me, and people like Mr. Master Dwaylen for pushing me to bring this back. It's good. Yeah. So I think 2016. I think that will be by the end of the year. In fact, I did some estimates. It could be as early as next August or July. That at the rate I'm going, I will have no more old models to paint. Which is probably most people are laughing and saying it's a pipe dream, but there'll always be more, but there may not be. I haven't purchased that many models this year. I've only purchased maybe 20. Like, not units, like 20 models total. And I've painted hundreds, so it's been a great productive year, sorry, not progressive. What else? Weird things in the news this week. Bacon, carcinogen. Oops. Not quitting. It's one of those really overhyped things, and people are using it for like clickbait, like, oh my goodness, it's the craziest thing ever. But it is funny to me how, according to the World Health Organization, they put it in the same like category of bacon as like arsenic, cigarettes, alcohol, marijuana. It's like, what? Bacon? Oh, whatever. I'm not quitting eating my bacon. I don't eat a lot of it, but still. It's good stuff. That was kind of weird. There was a news report this week in Canada. We just had the election last week, right? Liberals won a majority government. And in Canada, there's no White House, right? In Canada, like in the States, the president gets the White House. In Canada, they get this really huge mansion. The address is 24 Sussex Drive in Ottawa, right? And a couple stories behind that. The previous prime minister, well, the current one, until Justin Trudeau gets taken into prime minister, is Stephen Harper. Stephen Harper actually is in a rock band, and it's called the Vingt Quatre. The reason is Vingt Quatre is French for 24, relating to 24 Sussex Drive. And 24 Sussex Drive is apparently in such crappy, rundown, disgusting condition that the guy who just got elected into prime minister doesn't want to live there. So he's chosen to live away from there in this. There's also a prime minister cottage somewhere, and he's living there for a while until they decide to have the funds to fix up. Like, apparently this thing just needs a giant reno. Some people are even suggesting them tear down the entire building and just start from scratch again. Seeing as it's the prime minister's place, it shouldn't take that long to build, right? But of course, it's Canada. Just joke, 2 seasons, winter and construction. But so that's kind of interesting. So in Canada, our equivalent of the White House is in such rundown condition that our leader doesn't even want to live there. Weird stuff. And Blue Jay news, of course, which most of you don't care about the Blue Jays, but Blue Jay is the GM who just had such a good year. He won GM of the Year for a magazine and his competition. He won GM of the Year amongst his peers, basically. And the same day that he won GM of the Year, he quit being a GM for the Toronto Blue Jays because there's a new president coming in. Apparently, they don't see eye to eye. The only problem is, though, the new president for the Blue Jays was hired on a year ago before the GM really did these good things and proved himself as a GM. So it's one of those weird situations where he was brought in to fix a team a year ago, and since then the team has greatly improved itself. And in the end, so Twitter was just like anger, a ball of rage towards Rogers. Rogers, the company, owns Toronto Blue Jays and the Rogers Center, obviously. So now I'm going to take some non-oil, and I'm going to give it by the time I get to the back ones, the most recently painted ones, the other ones should be dry. So let's start painting. So I'm just going to hit them all with non-oil shading. We're only halfway through this video. Oh my goodness. That is craziness. I thought I was going to take the whole video just to put the silver metallics on the models, and now it's going to take me, you know, this will only probably take 5 minutes to do. So maybe I'll start on the white areas. What else? The Toronto pandas are doing well. They've been showing new photos of them. They're starting to look like pandas instead of large pink rats. They're adorbs. Totes adorbs. Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, I'm hoping that this new Tau Codex adds some flavor. I'm guessing they're going to keep, you know, combined Overwatch and all that jazz. Get a bunch of formations and improve the Codex or something, hopefully. I really don't like combined Overwatch, frankly. I think it's just boring. Not overpowered, but just boring. It forces a boring playstyle, in my opinion. So, whatever. But, yeah. So let's see how they come up after this. They've obviously gotten a lot of new monstrous creatures and a gargantuan monstrous creature. Somebody at this tournament, I'm going to a tournament soon, called Brawl in the Hall. And I've kind of started a little bit of a controversy amongst the brawlers. Me and my my homie Stu, who watches this, you know, in the comments. Stu will address this in the comment section. But and it's run. The tournament is run by a. You've seen my most recent battle report by one of my friends and common battle report opponent, Dave. And it's a good tournament. It's an event technically. It's not a tournament. It's an event, but still. And I really want to play Imperial Knights at this tournament. Not because I'm you know me. I'm not a win at all cost player. I'm not a jerk. I just want to play Imperial Knights. I have not had a chance to play Imperial Knights since the new Codex. And I figured, what better environment than a tournament in which a lot of people will bring competitive lists. So, boom, you know, and it's a tournament where you can, you know, the rule, it's like, you know, your opponents, you can't expect everything your opponents are going to bring, and whatever, you know. But people have some really, have some hate towards the Imperial Knights because, and I do understand their argument. I'm not at all blind to the fact, like Dave does make a valid point that it is not an all-comers facing army. You know, if you bring an all-comers list against an Imperial Knight list, you're gonna die, right? The odds are. The thing is, people forget there's some huge disadvantages to playing Imperial Knights. Only one of the formations or detachments has objective secured. So you only have 4 or 5 models on the table, and if they don't have objective secured, which I'm probably gonna take the one that has objective secured for this reason, they can just drop a drop pod beside your guy and score that objective, right? You have these giant hulking creatures that can't hold an objective, and if you can't cover the board. Like there's for Maelstrom of War, there's already a card called Domination, and you can't score it. If you only have 4 or 5 models on the table, you definitely can't score 6 objectives. Right, so there's some huge disadvantages to playing knights too. That, and if your opponent has an answer to them, you could lose a knight a turn, and it's devastating, right? Because you lose a single model, and that's a 4th or a 5th of your army. But I do agree. There are some, you know what is it? If you're running up against an all-comers army, you're gonna win because an all-comers list, you know, anything that doesn't have strength 7 and above will just, you can't do anything. They can run for objectives. But I really wanted to play knights, and so did Stu. And we thought it'd be kind of fun if we both play knights in the same tournament. And people have been putting up a little bit of a fuss about it. And I understand, I understand their argument. You know what? There's a very, what I really like about the group in Peterborough is that they debate, but they debate with a lot of respect. And there was a very healthy debate going on about that, whether they should allow Imperial Knights as a list, or, you know, gargantuans and stuff. And the reason, and I said, it's Dave's tournament, and it's his rules. And if he decided to ban Imperial Knights, it's his rules. And I would, you know, I'd have to oblige it because it's his list. It's his tournament, his rules. Makes sense. I'm not holding a tournament. But in this particular event, there's a sportsmanship score. But it's not only about the person you're playing against, it's about their list. You know, how did the person play is one question, and then the other one is, how did you like your opponent's list? So if your opponent brings a solid list that trounces you, you can actually turn around and just say, you know what? I wouldn't want to play against this list again, and they lose points as a result. And apparently, if consistent negative scores can result in the future banning of a person from the tournament. So that is a risk I'm kind of willing to take. I'm going to have a good time. And the thing is, I think I'm going to try to prove them wrong, and that they're going to have a fun time, even playing against me. And I've warned them. I said, hey, okay, if you guys are all concerned about Imperial Knights, I'm playing Imperial Knights, just to let you all know, so that you know I'm coming, and you know what I'm bringing. And so it's going to be by no means a surprise if I face you, and I put down my models across from you, and I put down 4 giant or 5 giant hulking models, you know? And the thing is, obviously, in some ways, I do agree that the super heavies can kind of break 40k in some ways. Like, Stomp is so powerful. People worry about D, but in my opinion, Stomp is the most powerful thing in the game. Because, A, Stomp has removed from play. And you can get multiple stomps in a close combat, and you can stomp things that aren't in close combat with you. You can stomp like a tank that's 6 inches away from the combat and destroy it using stomp when you're not in base-to-base with the tank. And those are the reasons, as I said, I understand why people hate super heavies. I just really want to play, and I don't think, and the thing is, there's even rules in this tournament against super heavies. For example, your opponent gets a point for every 3 hull points removed from a single super heavy. So if I bring 5 super heavies, that's 30 hull points. So 10 potential points that they can get and win the game by tabling me, or almost tabling me to a model. So I'm not caring. I'm not going to go to win. I don't care about winning. I'm going to go and have a great time and play my Imperial Knights and just have fun. That's what it's about to me, is having fun. And Dave's a really good guy, and I respect his rules. And but I'm going to bring my Knights, and I'm going to have a good time, and I'm going to hopefully make my opponents have a good time and show them that Knights aren't the falling down end of the world. In a lot of ways, Eldar can be just so much overpowered than a Knight army, because Eldar can bring multiple Wraith Knights who are pretty much better in every single way than an Imperial Knight. And then they can bring a bunch of other bikes and drive around the table and stuff. You can't maneuver around Eldar like you can maneuver around Imperial Knights. You know, they're relatively fast because they can each move 12. But there's only 5 models, or 4 models on the table. So, we'll see. Originally, I was going to bring my Grot Tank army, but they're not allowed because there's no current Imperial armor book for orcs. It kind of got discontinued and hasn't been replaced yet. So, Stu and I'll go and have fun, play, and you know, it'll be good. I gotta get Stu in sometime to do a battle report. I don't know if I'm gonna get a 5th Knight by then, but I'd love to have a battle report against Stu and play Imperial Knights versus Imperial Knights. It'll be a quick battle report, probably. Because like right now my arm, I don't know. There's 2 different lists I'm debating about for Brawl. One of them has 5 Knights. One of them has 4 Knights. My 5 Knight list has only 3 guns that I will fire. 3 guns. So my movement phase will be 5 models. My shooting phase will be 3 guns. My assault phase will be the rest, and then I'm done. So that there's no psychic phase. So yeah, it'll be a quick game. That's a good thing about. That's one of the reasons why I also wanted to play my Imperial Knights at a tournament, was that at Brawl, when we were playing doubles, I only got like to turn 2 some of my games. So if I bring Imperial Knights, that should be a catalyst for the speed of the game. So we'll see. I think it's gonna be fun. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. I'm almost done the non-oil, and it's 40 minutes in. Good. I'm just gonna take a break for a second, drink some water. It's really hot in here. This is a heated workshop, right? I'm not, in a cold garage or something. Yeah. Oh, so yesterday, here's a funny story. So yesterday, and I usually walk to work because I like the exercise, and yeah, move more, eat less, trying to lose weight. I'm not on like a super strict diet or something, but I want to get in better shape because I know that I'm not in the best shape sometimes, and I like to walk to work. Except sometimes my work calls me in early, and that's the case. I take the motorcycle if I can, because they need me sooner than later. I can't be like, all right, I'll see you. Hey, you need me in 20 minutes. Well, if I walk, I'll be there in 50. So, no, then I take the motorcycle because then it'll save me a lot of time. So yesterday, I got called in early by about 2 hours, and hour and 45 minutes, I think. So then I'm like, all right, I'll take the motorcycle. So I get on my motorcycle gear and stuff, and I open up the garage door, move my motorcycle out of the garage, and then I close the garage. And as I'm closing the garage, the entire door, like one half of the door just falls down like at an angle. Like it came right off. And I already told them I'm on my way, so I didn't have to, I looked at the garage door and I'm like, hopefully it can survive the rest of the day. I came back hours later and it was still there and still attached. I was like, all right, good. And then I'm not terrible with my hands. I'm not amazing. Like I'm not a construction worker or contractor or something. But I'm not bad. I can kind of figure out how things go together again. And so I was able to get the garage door back together and back in working condition. But it was just really funny how I accidentally broke the garage door. Like it just came right off, and I was like, well, no time, and I left. I was really hoping that my wife didn't get home before I did, and then she'd just be like, why is the garage door broken? What did you do, Jay? Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, I broke it. Look at that. Silvers are done for now. Obviously, I'll do an iron breaker dry brush later. But by the time this video is done, the models will not be dry. So I'll start on white area. I'll do the shoulder patches white. Yeah, why not? I'll do that for now. That'll take me a little while, and then, but yeah, we have 15 minutes left of the video. 15 minutes should be plenty of time to do some shoulder pad painting. What else is happening soon? Oh, pre-register. It's almost time to sign up for next year's Adepticon. That'll be cool. So I gotta sign up soon. I had such a good time. I'm definitely going back to Adepticon. So now I'm going to take some white scars and do the shoulder patches. I'm going to thin down with some Lamy medium, as I normally do. But yeah, I'm excited to sign up for that. I already got my hotel room because they basically filled up already. They went so early and so quickly. Let's start working on some white areas. Yeah, I'll do white. Why not? We'll do the white areas. So, what are we talking about so far? Halloween? Tomorrow? Oh yeah, time to turn the clocks ahead. Remember, people, turn the clocks back on Sunday. I always forget to do that. But luckily, I live in a day where these days, I just live by my phone as a clock. So it does it automatically, I'm guessing. Look at that. White shoulder pad. Good to go. See, they're coming along really well. My goal for next week probably is have the whites done, silvers done, and maybe even reds done. And I'll do golds next week, base them in between that, and they'll be done. And then the following week could be the Deathwing week, where I just work on Deathwing, clean them up. I should probably purchase more stuff one day for the Dark Angels, because I just have like the vanilla, all I have is the Tactical Marines. You know, I think I have Deathwing Knights somewhere I might need to work on. But I just have a lot of Deathwing, some Ravenwing, some Tactical Marines. I have some, I have Azrael, Belial, Samael. I really got to get Ezekiel. He's the one I really have to get. Because I really want to do, people keep telling me I should do the Librarian Conclave for Dark Angels. But the Librarian Conclave for Dark Angels is slightly different than the Librarian Conclave for the Vanilla Marines, because for the Vanilla Marines, you can run it with between 3 and 5 Librarians, and you can upgrade one of them to Tigurius if you wish, right? Because he's the Master Librarian. But for Dark Angels, it is actually Tigurius, sorry, it's Ezekiel's Librarian Conclave. So you have to run it with Ezekiel and up to 2 to 5 other librarians. So you can't run it without Ezekiel. Vanilla Marines, I can run the Librarian Conclave with 3 vanilla librarians, but you can't do that same thing with Dark Angels. So I have to get Ezekiel one day. I was going to convert him, but then I completely forgot. I painted the model in Imperial Fist colors. One of my librarians, I thought, oh shoot, you were the one that was going to be Dark Angels. So I'll see if I have another one. I might have one more. And if I have one more, I'm just going to put a mask on him and then paint him up as Tigurius. No, it's Tigurius, Ezekiel. I'll use some green stuff. Yeah. It's cool. Good stuff. I'll have to do 2 coats, because I'm doing 2 thin coats of white. And I'll probably do a watered down non-oil after that. Still though, if the starter set, the Dark Vengeance starter set, is such an awesome buy if you are a Dark Angel player. It really is. Because you get all these Tactical Marines, a Deathwing squad and a Ravenwing squad. So that's pretty awesome right there. That's a lot of fun stuff that you get. And a Librarian and a Company Master, which is now the prerequisite for the one of the prerequisites for the Demi company. So, good stuff. Yeah. What else do I want to talk about? I don't know. Things are good. I'm in a really positive state of mind this week, and it's really nice. It really is. To get a lot of work done, it feels great. I work a lot. Like, I'm pretty much becoming a workaholic in the sense that I'm always at one of my jobs. But that's how it's going to be, and it's going to be for a while, and I've accepted that. I'm going to work hard on that. You know, I want to produce as much content for y'all as possible. You know, I'm this close to hitting 25,000 subscribers, which is just awesome. You know, that's really cool. And my goal is I would love to hit 40K by the end of next year. I don't know if it'll happen, but I would love to see if I can hit 40,000 subscribers. That'd be really cool. Yeah, winter's on its way. It happens. Well, like it's Halloween tomorrow, and then Remembrance Day is the following week, right? Middle of the week. Well, like not technically the following, 11 days later. You know, a week and a half later, and then after that, it's gonna be like Christmas at every store. You know, usually in Canada, we can start doing Christmas stuff the day after Remembrance Day. Mm-hmm. What other sports news? Leafs still suck. Right now, I don't even know why people go see Leafs games. I really don't. They're so bad. We're in like last place in our conference. They suck. It's a like they usually suck anyway, but it's a year of rebuilding right now. So, and the thing is, the Leaf tickets are still stupidly expensive. I'm like, why are you paying $100 to go see? Maybe they're paying to go see the other team. You know, Leafs have kind of become the what are they called? The Washington Nationals or whatever they're. Whoever plays against the. Whoever used to play against the Harlem Globetrotters. We won one game. I think they've played like 8 or 9. So, yeah. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny. I want to go. I'll go see a Sens game sometime. Maybe this winter. But yeah, it's good to get work done. As I said, it really is. It feels good when I can think back on my week and the feeling of accomplishment is good. It's really good. But I am a little bit surprised in the end as well. I should talk about this. I am a little bit surprised that we're getting a new codex already for 40K. I was wondering if Age of Sigmar. I wasn't hoping. I'm sorry. I was thinking about Age of Sigmar and how I figured it'd use months and months of Age of Sigmar stuff. But apparently that's not the case. My paint's almost done. That's good. I'm gonna start up soon. I don't think I'm gonna finish this step before a decent time. So. That's okay. I got a lot of stuff done today. It was a good hour of painting to add on to my work. that I've gotten done this week. And as I said, there's gonna be a bunch of videos between now and then. I'll try to do a Q&J tonight. That's gonna be my goal. It may not happen, but I'm gonna try to do a Q&J. And I will try to finish up my How to Play 40K probably by tomorrow, is my guess. Probably tomorrow. And yeah, oh, another thing. Might as well. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to talk about my internet. So as I said, it's been stupidly slow. I talked about it last week. My stupidly slow internet. I dropped the paint. And it fixed itself like an hour ago. It's been a week and a half of slow, almost like dial-up speeds. And which sucks being a YouTuber and having to upload at, it was uploading, my speed with uploading was like 1.2 megabytes per second. So that battle report that I uploaded on Wednesday took, it was like hours, 5 hours I think from the start to when it was finished processing. 5 hours maybe? It was disgustingly slow. And it's hard being a YouTuber when you have slow internet. But it's fixed, and that's what matters as well. So it's a good day. It's Friday. I'm in love. You know, that's the thing. I don't care if Monday's blue. Tuesday's gray and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Friday. I'm in love. I hope I'm definitely not the oldest person watching this, so I know some other people get that reference to that song. It's a good song. Used in multiple Adam Sandler movies. Yeah. What else? Yeah, so it's good. Internet's fixed. I can finally upload again at decent speeds. So this video will be uploaded quickly and efficiently. I am so happy. I'm going to finish these guys. I'm going to continue working because I'm in such a good mood right now that you guys can get an extra few minutes with a Painting with Jay. We're in the bonus round, people. It's only a few minutes anyway, but I'm getting so, like, I just want to get this step done. And then I'll be like, alright, white's done. I'll do another coat of white later. Dry brush silver. Some non-oil on the pads. Yeah, I'll definitely have the whites done before next week. Maybe next week will be the reds, if I don't have them done by before then. Maybe my goal will be to try to get the reds done. But I don't know how much time I'll have next week. Probably a good amount. These guys will look awesome. What else? I sold a guy some cultists. I had some cultists lying around my workshop, and one of he's a new player. I'm always trying to be, I'm not a root guy obviously, but I always try to be extra nice to new 40K players because they're so vulnerable to being, people are jerks to them. They leave the hobby. But somebody needed more cultists. Their first army was going to be Chaos Space Marines. They want to do cultist army. So I had some cultists lying around, and I sold them for like an awesome price. Like I gave it to them, I don't know, 30% of GW price. Brand new, on sprue, like whatever he wants. It's good stuff. But I met him, and this is the thing. I don't naturally think people are going to know who I am, right? I don't think so. I don't have an ego. I only have, I only have 25,000 subscribers. I'm not mini wargaming who has 190,000 subscribers. So I met the guy, and the guy, it was really funny. The guy had no idea who I was, and I didn't care, I said, "Hi, I'm Jay," and he said, "Hi." But he started asking questions, and it was really cool. And I didn't want to sound like a jerk. I didn't want to pretend like, I'm setting him up as a joke or something, but it was cool. It was nice to talk to someone, and he was asking about armies and stuff, so I was giving him tips about Grey Knights. He was like, "How did you," yeah, because I have so many points in guys that are painted, and he's like, "Whoa, how'd you get that many?" I'm like, years of painting and stuff. I didn't even bring up YouTube. I just talk to him. It was a really cool time just to talk to someone and they have no idea who I am and just talk straight 40K. And he was new and it was really cool, just asking opinions on stuff. And he's gonna have fun. Unfortunately, his friends are playing. He's playing Chaos. Like 4 friends chose armies to start all together at 40K. He's playing Chaos Space Marines. His friends are playing Necrons, Eldar, and Dark Angels. So I'm like, you're gonna have fun, but you might have a little bit of an issue. Don't worry. Eventually, Chaos Space Marines will get a new codex, and all will be right. It'll be balanced. But yeah, like Eldar versus cultists is going to be a bit of an uphill battle, but he'll have a good time. He's playing Typhus and zombies. Yeah, he actually never even heard of mini wargaming, so that was a sign that he wouldn't know who I was. It's all good. And that's it. Look at them, they're all done. They all have white painted on them. Let's finish up. And we're on time. It's about an hour and a couple minutes in. So let's finish up now. So that concludes another episode of Painting with Jay. I hope you got stuff done, got your models all painted up, and that they're looking awesome too, and that you're seeing as much progress as I am. I'm having a great time doing these Painting with Jays. The amount of progress I've done, I just can't wait till next week's episode, getting more stuff done. And yeah, eventually, as I said, my workshop's going to be pretty empty. I'm excited for that day where I actually have to search to find models to paint. That'll be exciting. May never happen. I know you people are laughing at me and maybe it's a pipe dream, but still. So my big question to you this week is, do you want me to do a codex review for Tau? Do you think there's going to be enough information? Or do you think it'll just be good? Yeah, that's the thing. Even new people trying to start Tau now would get information from it. And for that reason, I think I will do it. I'll probably just buy the ebook edition, which is the cheapest one. That way, if I don't get as many views, which I'm anticipating will happen, it won't matter. You know, it won't take as much of an effect. But thank you as always for watching and playing along with me. Please leave comments in the comment section down below of what you think. Should I do a Tau Codex review? I think I should, but what do you think? And if you really want me to, I'll definitely do it. So thank you as always for watching. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting with Jay.